We have more reaction from that leaked opinion from the Supreme Court, which signals a potential big victory for the pro-life movement. EWTN's own Teresa Tomeo joins us now. Teresa, great to see you, my friend. Curious, what was your reaction when you first heard the news of the leak and the very real possibility that Roe versus Wade will be overturned?
Well, thanks, Tracy, for having me. I think I wasn't surprised when I found out that it was confirmed by Chief Justice Roberts, and that it actually was a draft opinion from Justice Alito. But as an American citizen and as a Catholic journalist, I was just stunned that there was a leak, and it really, I think, has compromised the court. I do think I always try to look at the glass as half full versus half empty, and I think this is an opportunity for us as pro-life leaders and Catholics, Christians, pro-lifers around the country to really understand what's happening now in terms of the way the left is reacting, this meltdown on the left in terms of how they are just going all out, and the ugliness of their claims and their arguments and the attacks, to make sure that we are approaching this really as an opportunity in terms of with love, firmness, and truth. This is an opportunity for us to continue to educate. Now, I think we pretty much knew that there was going to be a ruling in our favor, whether it would be a complete overturning of Roe v. Wade. And again, this is just a draft, so we don't know in terms of if this is a final decision, because as Justice Roberts said in his statement today, these things happen, they issue draft opinions, and they go back and forth and whatnot. But I think we have to look at this as an opportunity to make sure that we know about our faith. We know how to explain the pro-life teaching, that we know how to offer the alternative to abortion. So many people do not even know, Tracy, about pregnancy resource centers. So many people don't understand that Roe v. Wade has given us abortion through pregnancy, through 9 months of pregnancy. Most people really think that it's only 3 months in the first trimester. So do we know our faith? Do we know the catechism? And are we able to provide the answers that we have had in the pro-life movement since the very beginning? So I see this as an opportunity, again, to kick up the education and the knowledge.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point. And also, I want to go back to, that draft that was leaked. It said that the Roe decision was, quote, egregiously wrong from the start. Let's talk a little bit more about that and really that strong language there in that document.
Well, that's been something that the legal minds in the pro-life movement have been saying for decades, since Roe v. Wade in 1973, that it was very bad law. It was a bad legal decision. Even Ginsburg, shortly before she passed away, reiterated this, and she was attacked shortly before her death because of this statement. She said it was badly written in terms of the actual decision. So I think not getting into the minutia, though, with the legal aspect of it is going to be important, because I think we have to get down to the basics, because the way the pro-life movement has been portrayed in the culture and in the media, which is our expertise, you and me, we've been in the business for a long time, is that we don't care about women, we only care about the baby, and that we don't offer any alternatives. Well, it's the exact opposite. We care about the woman, we care about the baby, we care about the family. From the very beginning, the pro-life movement has been there to answer the call to women who are in need. And this whole idea of pro-choice, it's so interesting, isn't it, that there's all about choice now, and yet with this whole discussion of vaccines the last 2 years, I'm not getting into whether vaccine is, that's a personal decision, right? But no, you can only have choice when the left says it's your choice. So I think we have to be able to respond with some analogies and with some questions. I always try to give people on my radio show, and by the way, we're going to be talking about this tomorrow on Catholic Connection, is, okay, well, you say you're pro-choice, but how do you feel about vaccines? And how do you feel about, let's say, the studies and the numbers that show that most women who choose abortion aren't choosing it because they think it's a choice, they're choosing it because they're pressured? Or you're saying you're pro-choice, but what about the father? And of course, what about the child? They have no choice in this argument. And again, the studies going back 20, 30, 40 years show that women who, quote unquote, choose abortion are doing it not out of a real choice, but out of desperation. So I think if we know our faith and we lovingly express it, and we know the teachings of the church, right? And we also know that there are resources, and we need to be able to point someone to the local pregnancy resource center. So I would challenge the viewers tonight, do you know where the pregnancy resource centers are in your neighborhood? Could you send someone there who is in a crisis pregnancy? And I think we have to be ready for those questions and have the answers.
Yeah, Teresa, we're running out of time, but quickly, I want to bring this up because you brought up about the vaccines, and, we always talk about science. What about the science that's happened since Roe versus Wade was decided back in 1973 and all the medical advancements that came about?
Well, the medical advancements, the ultrasounds, the imaging, but the thing is, again, going back to our background as media people, People don't see that on the secular media. They don't see it on CNN, MSNBC, in the papers, in USA Today, New York Times. So we have to be able to point them to the resources like your show and my show and other opportunities in EWTN and the Register and Catholic News Agency that have all this documentation and all these images. We have to know these resources and be able to provide them, because we can have all the science in the world, but if people haven't seen or heard about it, it's not going to make a lot of difference. So the media and the culture in general have done a very good job of hiding the truth and just having people react with emotions. And that's what we have to work on to make sure that we know the information.
Absolutely. Teresa, thank you so much for coming on, my friend. The fight
Thanks
continues.
So much.